The story opens with silence. A cold desert wind blows across the ancient rocks of Africa. Beneath the dust, archaeologists are digging, searching for bones and tools of the humans who lived almost 1,000,000 years ago. For weeks, the team has found only broken stones and fragments. But today, something strange is uncovered. A young archaeologist brushes away sand and sees not bone, not stone, but a pattern carved deep into the rock. It is too sharp, too perfect. It is not nature. The markings shine faintly under the sun, like they were burned into the stone long ago. The team gathers. At first, they think it is a trick of the light. But then they realize the carvings form a star map. And at the center of the map, glowing like a hidden flame, is the symbol of Earth. The professor whispers, "This should not exist. Humans could not make star maps 900,000 years ago." As night falls, the team sets up lights and cameras. They run scans and discover that the markings are not only carvings, they are coded with strange energy, a frequency almost like a signal locked inside the stone. When the scanners activate, something happens. The rock begins to vibrate. The desert air fills with a low hum. The team stares as the markings glow brighter and brighter until suddenly a voice speaks, not in any human language, yet everyone understands the words. "They almost erased you once, and they can erase you again." The ground shakes. Lights explode, cameras shut down, and then silence. The markings stop glowing. The voice is gone. The team is terrified. They have no idea what they just heard. But the professor recognizes something in the symbols. He has seen similar patterns before, deep in classified files about UFO sightings and alien wreckage hidden by governments. He calls the authorities. Within hours, black transport ships land at the dig site. Soldiers surround the ruins. The archaeologists are taken away for questioning. The site is locked down, but the professor secretly keeps a copy of the star map. He studies it alone late at night, and what he finds shakes him to the core. The star map does not show only Earth. It shows fleets of warships drawn around the planet, circling like predators. It shows battles in space. And it shows something else, an image of the human figure surrounded by fire, almost erased from existence. The professor realizes this is not just history. This is a warning. Far away, light years across the galaxy, in a vast chamber filled with alien voices, the Council of Species meets. Holograms of different alien leaders flicker around the room, some reptilian, some insect-like, some with faces hidden in shadow. One alien slams his claw on the table. "The humans have found the ruins. They were not supposed to survive. They were not supposed to remember," another replies, voice trembling with fear. "If they found the ruins, it means the old signal has awakened. We must decide. Do we erase them again, or do we wait?" The chamber falls silent. Every alien knows the truth. 900,000 years ago, humanity was almost destroyed. But somehow humans survived. And now they are rising again. One council member snarls, "Humans are dangerous. They learn too fast. They build fleets too fast. If they discover the full truth, they will not stop until they challenge us all." A hologram of Earth spins above the table. Alien eyes focus on it with fear and hate. The council leader speaks slowly, "Then we must act. Assemble the fleets. Prepare for war." Back on Earth, the professor runs his hand across the glowing map one last time. His heart is heavy. He knows he should turn the copy over to the government. But deep inside, he feels the message was not a threat. It was a warning from the past, a warning left by ancient humans who once fought in the stars. He stares at the glowing Earth symbol. "If they almost erased us once," he whispers, "what stopped them before? And will we survive the next time?" The camera pulls back. The desert wind blows again, covering the ruins with sand. Soldiers guard the site, weapons ready, but they do not understand the scale of what is coming. Above the Earth, far beyond human sight, something stirs in the dark. A shadow moves. A fleet awakens. The warning is true. Humanity has been spared once. But for how long? The screen fades to black. A single phrase glows in red text. They almost erased you once. They can do it again. In the endless void between stars, a colossal station drifts in silence. Its shape is not human. It is alien, ancient, older than most civilizations in the galaxy. This is the place where the Council of Species gathers, a hall of power where empires decide the fate of weaker worlds. The chamber glows with cold light. Towering holograms of alien leaders flicker around a round table. Each is different, scaled, insect-like, crystalline, shadowed, but their voices unite in fear. They are not afraid of each other. They are afraid of a name whispered across the chamber: humanity. One counselor, a massive reptilian creature with armor fused to its scales, slams its clawed hand down. The humans have found the ruins. The signal has been activated. This cannot be allowed. Another, a tall being of light and shadow, speaks with hesitation. Perhaps the signal is only noise. The ruins were buried for almost 1,000,000 years. Humans are primitive. They cannot understand. The chamber darkens as the leader of the council, an ancient insectoid with a voice like broken glass, leans forward. Do not underestimate them. We tried before. 900,000 years ago, we came within a breath of erasing them. Yet they survived. And now they spread again. Their fleets grow faster than expected. Their soldiers learn faster than any species. They must not be allowed to remember. The table projects an image of Earth, blue oceans, white clouds, green continents, all spinning slowly against the black of space. The sight makes several alien counselors uneasy. Humanity's homeworld is beautiful but dangerous. A seed that once watered can become a forest impossible to burn down. One voice trembles. If they learn the truth, that they once held fleets of their own, that they once fought us among the stars, then nothing will stop them. Not fear, not fire, not war. The insectoid leader narrows its eyes. Then we must act now. Assemble the fleets. Silence Earth before it is too late. A silence spreads across the chamber. Some aliens nod in agreement, others shift nervously. None dare speak against the decision. But in a shadowed corner of the council, one smaller figure watches carefully. Its skin is pale and cracked, its eyes like cold silver. Unlike the others, it does not fear humanity. It studies them. It remembers. The pale figure whispers softly, almost to itself. They should not have survived last time. If they rise again, perhaps it is not fate we should fear, but something far older. The council continues to argue, their voices rising like thunder. Some demand immediate destruction. Others want to wait to watch. But slowly one decision forms. Fleets must gather. Humanity must be tested once more. Across the galaxy, hidden in massive shipyards orbiting dying stars, alien warships begin to stir. Their hulls shine black and silver. Their weapons glow with strange energy. Entire fleets awaken from centuries of silence, engines igniting one by one. Their course is set toward the little blue planet called Earth. Back on Earth, far from the Council's shadow, the professor studies his stolen copy of the ruins. Alone in his office, he enlarges the star map. To his horror, he sees the same thing the Council sees, giant ships drawn around Earth, surrounding it like hunters. He does not know who carved this warning, or how they knew, but the meaning is clear. He rubs his forehead, whispering, "This is not a story. This is history. This happened before." For a moment, he imagines ancient humans, dressed not in furs but in armor, standing aboard massive warships, staring out at the galaxy with the same defiant eyes modern soldiers wear. Could it be true? Could humans have risen before only to be erased? His thoughts are interrupted by a knock at the door. A soldier enters, face expressionless. "Professor, you are coming with us." The professor hides his fear. He knows they will take him away, maybe silence him. But deep inside, he knows the warning must be shared. If humanity does not prepare, history will repeat. That night, as the transport ship carries him across the dark skies, the professor looks down at Earth glowing below. He does not know fleets are already moving, already aiming their weapons at the planet he calls home. Far away, in the alien council chamber, the insectoid leader gives the final command. "Deploy the first fleet." Let them fear what their ancestors could not stop. The chamber echoes with approval. Holograms fade. The council disperses, but the pale figure in the corner remains still, staring at the empty projection of Earth. Its silver eyes narrow as it whispers, "You survived once. Let us see if you can survive again." In the silence of space, hundreds of alien warships ignite their engines. Their shadows stretch long and dark across the stars. They turn toward Earth. The fleet has been unleashed. The final scene zooms out from Earth, showing dozens of alien fleets forming in deep space, their weapons glowing. A single phrase appears on screen: "They are coming." The night skies above Earth were calm. Cities glowed, people slept, and the planet spun in silence. But high above the clouds, in the cold vacuum of space, sensors began to scream. Inside a command center on Earth's orbital station, young officers stared at their screens in shock. Tiny green dots were appearing one by one, then 10, then hundreds. The radar was filling with shapes so massive, so numerous, that the officers froze. "Contact. Multiple contacts," one whispered. His voice trembled. "Size. They're bigger than anything we've ever seen." The room fell silent. Everyone knew what that meant. These were not asteroids. These were not human ships. They were warships. The general entered the room, his boots heavy on the steel floor. He leaned over the glowing screen. At first, he thought it was a glitch, but the patterns were too precise. Fleets of ships positioned in formation, closing on Earth. "How close?" the general asked. "Outer system, just beyond the orbit of Neptune." "They're holding position, but there are so many of them, sir. Entire fleets." The general's jaw tightened. "Sound the alarm. Notify Earth Command. Scramble every available unit. Across the planet, bases lit up. Pilots ran to their fighters. Soldiers strapped on armor. The skies filled with streaks of fire as humanity's fleets launched. From the moon, from Mars, from orbital stations, all available ships rose into the darkness, forming a fragile shield around their home. Families watched from windows as streaks of light raced across the night sky. People asked questions, but there were no answers. Only fear in secret bunkers, leaders argued. Some demanded communication. Others shouted for weapons to be armed. But no one truly understood who, or what, was waiting in the dark beyond Neptune. At the edge of the solar system, the alien armada drifted silently. Their ships were vast, blacker than space, glowing with strange runes. Each was a fortress larger than cities. Their engines pulsed like hearts. The alien commander watched Earth's fleets rise. Its voice was cold. "So, they still fight, even after all this time?" Another alien officer bowed. "Shall we strike, Commander?" The leader shook its head. "Not yet. First, they must remember who they face." A single warship broke formation. It glided forward, massive enough to block out the stars. Then, with a pulse of light, it transmitted a signal directly into Earth's communication networks. Screens across the planet flickered. News broadcasts, security feeds, even personal devices, all went black. Then a face appeared. It was alien, tall, skeletal, with burning eyes. Its voice was deep, resonant, and chilling. "Humans. You should not exist. 900,000 years ago, we tried to erase you. We failed. This time we will not." Panic spread instantly. Billions saw the message. Billions understood the threat. Governments tried to shut it down, but it was everywhere. On the orbital station, officers stared at the screen in horror. One whispered, They remember us. They fought us before." The general turned, his face pale but hard. "Then it's true. The professor was right." The commander of Earth's fleet spoke into his comms, his voice steady but heavy with fear. "All units, hold formation. Do not fire unless fired upon. We need time. We need answers." In a hidden facility below the Earth's surface, the professor sat under heavy guard. He had been brought here after his discovery. Now, for the first time, the guards were nervous. The alien message had confirmed everything he warned about. The professor leaned forward, whispering, "They are not here for peace. They are here to finish what they started, and we are not ready." The guard asked, "Then what chance do we have?" The professor closed his eyes. In his mind, he saw the ancient star map again, the fleets drawn around Earth, the image of humanity almost erased. But he also remembered something else, a faint symbol of light hidden in the ruins. "A secret not yet revealed. We have only one chance," he whispered, "to find what our ancestors left behind." Out in space, Earth's fleet faced the alien armada. Human ships looked small, fragile, like sparks compared to burning suns. But their captains stood firm. Every soldier, every pilot knew this was not just another war. This was survival. The alien commander studied them in silence. Then, with a cruel smile, it gave the order, "Send the Ghost Fleet." From the shadows behind the main armada, ships began to emerge. They were not new. They were old, ancient, their hulls scarred and broken. Yet they moved with deadly precision. These were the Ghost Fleet, survivors of the last war 900,000 years ago, alien warships that had fought against humanity's ancestors. Their weapons glowed as they powered up. The void filled with red light. Earth's soldiers braced themselves. The professor looked up from his prison cell as alarms blared above ground, and the alien commander whispered into the stars, "This time, humanity will be erased." The final shot shows the Ghost Fleet igniting their weapons, aimed at Earth. The screen fades to black with glowing words. The first shot will decide everything. The first clash had not yet begun, but Earth trembled under the weight of what was coming. Billions watched the skies, waiting for fire to fall. The Ghost Fleet of alien warships loomed at the edge of the solar system, their weapons glowing, their shadows long. On Earth, hidden deep in a secure facility, the professor sat at a steel table. Guards stood outside and cameras tracked every movement. But the professor was not afraid of prison. He was afraid of silence. Silence meant the truth would remain buried. For hours, he replayed the glowing star map he had stolen from the ruins. At first, he saw only fleets surrounding Earth. But tonight, with alarms blaring above and alien threats filling the skies, he saw something different. In the corner of the map, faint and broken, was another image, a human figure clad in armor standing beside a massive warship. It was not art. It was a record, a memory left behind. The professor whispered, "This is not the first time." Humanity rose before and fell. Far above in orbit, Earth's generals and admirals argued. Some wanted to fire first, to strike before the aliens unleashed their full power. Others wanted peace, believing communication could stop the bloodshed. But the message from the aliens was clear. 900,000 years ago, we tried to erase you. This time you will not escape. No one could deny the truth anymore. This was not a first encounter. This was a second war. One admiral, her face pale, spoke softly. "If they tried once before, how did we survive?" No one answered. The silence was heavier than any weapon. The professor's words, however, reached the ears of Earth Command. He was brought to the orbital station, placed before generals and scientists. He told them what he saw in the ruins. Humanity was not weak, he said firmly. We were not primitives hiding in caves. We once had fleets of our own. We once fought among the stars. And someone, our ancestors, left warnings for us to find. If we want to survive this war, we must remember theirs. The room erupted in disbelief. Some called it fantasy. Others demanded proof. The professor opened his tablet and projected the star map into the air. The generals stared as the image unfolded. Ancient warships, human silhouettes, stars marked with battles. It was a history erased, a history no one had ever been told. "This is our story," the professor said. "We nearly vanished 900,000 years ago, but we did not. Something or someone saved us." Meanwhile, in the depths of space, the alien commander of the Ghost Fleet studied old records. Their archives were vast, filled with memories of past wars. One file in particular showed battles fought long ago, fleets of alien ships burning as they fought against something unexpected, not beasts. Not machines, but humans. The commander narrowed its eyes. They should have been extinct. Their ancestors fought like no other. If they survived, then how? The officer beside him hissed. They survived because we allowed it. We withdrew before the final blow. The commander growled, "No." Something else happened. A weapon or a fleet. "I can feel it." The officer shifted nervously. "Does it matter? This time we will finish them." But the commander remained silent, staring at the records of burning alien ships. Deep inside, even it felt a flicker of unease. Back on Earth, scientists analyzed the ruins again. Hidden within the symbols, they uncovered fragments of coordinates, star systems long dead, far from the solar system. The coordinates suggested human settlements beyond Earth. "Impossible," a general whispered. Humans never left Earth before, but the evidence was undeniable. The professor leaned closer. "Our ancestors built fleets. They colonized. They fought. They lost. And then their memory was erased. But if even one of their fleets survived, it may still be out there." The room fell silent. A single thought chilled everyone. If ancient humans once had fleets, maybe those fleets or their ruins still waited among the stars. The decision was made. Humanity would send a small reconnaissance mission, not to fight, but to search. A fast ship was launched, carrying soldiers and scientists. Their goal: follow the ancient coordinates, find the truth. As the ship departed Earth, families waved, not knowing if they would ever return. Soldiers saluted, knowing they might never see home again. But the aliens were not blind. The Ghost Fleet detected the human ship breaking formation. The alien commander watched with cold eyes. "Where are they going?" an officer asked. The commander smiled, sharp and cruel. "They are searching. Good, let them. They will only find despair." The reconnaissance ship raced into the darkness, chasing the coordinates. Stars streaked past as the crew prepared for what they might see. Hours felt like days. Fear grew heavier with every passing moment. Finally, they arrived. A dead star system filled with dust and broken worlds. And orbiting one shattered planet, they saw it, giant shapes drifting in silence. At first they thought they were asteroids, but as they drew closer, their hearts froze. They were not rocks. They were ships, massive human warships, ancient and broken, their hulls scarred from battles long forgotten. They drifted like ghosts, silent but proud, a graveyard of humanity's first fleet. The camera zooms in on one massive warship, half destroyed. Its name still carved into the hull, The Last Dawn. Lights flicker weakly inside, as if something within still lived. The screen fades to black with glowing words. "The ancestors are waiting." The graveyard of ships floated in silence. Human soldiers aboard the reconnaissance craft stared at the ancient fleet with wide eyes. Rusted hulls, broken engines, shattered weapons, yet even in death the ships looked proud. The captain whispered, "These were ours. Our ancestors built these." The professor, his voice heavy with awe, nodded. "This is proof. Humanity once fought in the stars. We had fleets, weapons, courage, and we almost won." But silence held another truth. If these ships were here, drifting and lifeless, it meant their crews never returned. Humanity had been driven to extinction before. Back on Earth, alarms continued to blare. The ghost fleet of alien warships had not attacked yet, but their presence was a constant threat. Humanity's fleets held position, their soldiers watching the void, waiting for the first strike. In orbit, soldiers trained harder than ever before. Armor clanged in the barracks. Weapons were checked again and again. Every man and woman knew the truth. They might not survive, but they had to fight. A sergeant walked down the line, his voice loud. "You are the wall between Earth and extinction. Our ancestors fought these monsters once. They almost wiped us out. This time we will not let them. We are soldiers of humanity. We are soldiers of survival." The soldiers roared in unison, their voices echoing through the metal halls. For a brief moment fear turned to fire, but the alien council had already spoken. Humanity was to be erased again. Deep in their warships, alien commanders whispered a single phrase: Extinction Protocol. It was not just an attack. It was a plan of annihilation. No mercy, no survivors. This time, humanity would not rise again. The alien commander of the Ghost Fleet watched Earth with cold eyes. "Prepare the Extinction Protocol. Burn their fleets, scorch their cities, erase their memory." Across the Armada, weapons powered up. Energy cores glowed. The first phase of extinction was ready. In the secret war room beneath Earth's surface, generals debated. Should they launch their fleets first? Should they wait for the enemy to fire? The professor stood among them, holding the star map. "You don't understand," he said, voice urgent. "They have done this before. If we wait, we die. If we run, we die. The only chance we have is to remember what our ancestors knew." A general frowned. "And what is that?" The professor tapped the faint coordinates glowing on the map. They left something behind. Not just ships, a weapon. A secret powerful enough to stop extinction once before. "We must find it." The generals exchanged uneasy glances. They did not trust myths. They trusted fleets. But they had no choice. Humanity needed every hope it could find. The reconnaissance crew still drifted among the ruins of the ancient fleet. They boarded one of the massive warships, the Last Dawn. Inside, dust floated like ash. Corridors stretched endlessly, lined with skeletons of the past. One soldier touched a console. To his shock, the screen flickered. Power surged weakly through the ship as if it had been waiting. The lights came on. A voice echoed, old and broken but human. "This is Fleet Commander Arkan of the Last Dawn. If you hear this, you are my blood. You are humanity. We fought the war you now face. We lost. But we left behind our knowledge, hidden where only humans can find it. Do not fail as we did." The crew froze. The message was real. Their ancestors were speaking across time. But before the recording could continue, alarms screamed. The ship shook violently. Outside the shattered windows, alien warships appeared. The ghost fleet had followed them. Back in orbit around Earth, soldiers scrambled to their stations. Pilots leapt into fighters, engines roaring. The order came through. Enemy engagement imminent. In space, Earth's fragile fleet turned its guns toward the alien armada. Thousands of ships faced each other across the void. The professor stood at the window of the orbital station, staring at the stars. "So it begins again," he whispered. On the Last Dawn, the crew panicked as alien fire lit up the sky. One soldier shouted, "They found us! They're trying to destroy the fleet!" The captain gritted his teeth. "Then we fight even with ruins." He slammed his fist on the old console. "Wake the ship!" The ancient engines rumbled weakly. Weapons flickered. Systems sparked. But slowly, impossibly, the Last Dawn began to breathe again. The soldiers aboard felt the weight of history pressing down on them. They were not just fighting for Earth. They were fighting for every human who had ever lived, every ancestor who had fallen. They were fighting extinction itself. The screen zooms out as alien warships surround the Last Dawn. Red energy builds in their cannons. The ancient human ship flickers with power, ready to fire one last time. Black screen. Text glows. Extinction protocol has begun. The stars burned bright over Earth, but in the war rooms below, shadows grew. Humanity had united, or so it seemed. Every fleet, every soldier, every leader had sworn to defend Earth against extinction. But unity was fragile, and someone had already broken it. Inside the secret command bunker, the professor spread out the ancient star map. Generals leaned in, studying the glowing symbols. "This," the professor said, pointing to the faint coordinates, "is where our ancestors hid their weapon. If we reach it, we might stand a chance." But one general crossed his arms. His name was General Kale. His voice was cold. "Or it's a myth. Sending ships out there weakens our defense. If the aliens attack while we're searching for fairy tales, Earth will fall," the other generals argued, voices rising. Some wanted to follow the map. Others wanted to fortify Earth. The council split, and in the shadows, General Kale smiled to himself. Far above, Earth's fleet held its line. Soldiers trained, ships floated in formation, and the ghost fleet still waited in silence. But on one of the largest human carriers, whispers spread. Supplies were disappearing. Orders were being changed. Someone was moving pieces behind the scenes. Captain Mira, a young officer, noticed the irregularities. She confronted her commander. "Sir, why are patrol routes being shortened? Why are we leaving gaps in our defense?" The commander looked away. "Orders from above." "From who?" she demanded. The commander's eyes flickered nervously. He didn't answer. Back in the bunker, the professor sensed something was wrong. He leaned toward the general, who still opposed him. "You don't believe in myths, General Kale, but your eyes, they don't doubt. They know. Why?" Kyle smirked. "Because myths are dangerous. They give people hope, and hope makes them reckless." The professor narrowed his eyes. "You're not trying to save Earth. You're trying to destroy it." The room froze. Guards raised weapons. Generals shouted, but Kale moved faster than anyone expected. He slammed his hand on a hidden console. The bunker shook as alarms screamed. On the surface, massive silos opened. Nuclear weapons rose toward the sky. Not aimed at the aliens, but at Earth's own fleets. Above Earth, soldiers panicked as missiles streaked upward. Defenders scrambled to intercept. The sky lit up with fire as human weapons clashed against human shields. Captain Mira's ship was nearly struck. She watched the chaos unfold, her heart racing. "This isn't the aliens. This is us!" The fleet's communication lines exploded with shouting. No one knew who was friend and who was traitor. In the confusion, gaps opened in Earth's defense, and the aliens were watching. On the alien flagship, the commander's face twisted into a cruel grin. They betray themselves. Just as before, humans are weak. Their unity is a lie. Another officer asked, "Shall we strike, Commander?" The leader shook its head. "Not yet. Let them bleed each other. When their shield breaks, we will erase what remains." In the bunker, chaos raged. Generals fought. Guards turned on one another. Smoke filled the air as gunfire erupted in the underground halls. The professor ducked behind a table, clutching the star map. He shouted to loyal soldiers, "We must escape. The map must not fall into traitor hands." General Kale fired his pistol, his voice cold and steady. "The aliens were right. Humanity should have ended long ago. I will finish what they started." The professor and a small group of loyal soldiers fought their way through the corridors. Explosions shook the bunker. Doors slammed shut. Alarms blared. One soldier asked, "Why would a human side with aliens?" The professor's face was grim. "Because extinction is not only forced from outside. Sometimes it begins within." Meanwhile, in orbit, Captain Mira rallied her crew. "Listen to me. This chaos is exactly what they want. If we keep fighting each other, Earth is lost. We must hold the line." Her words cut through the panic. Slowly, ships regrouped. Fighters formed new squadrons. The fleet began to stabilize. But then the warning came. Alien movement detected. The Ghost Fleet is advancing. The professor and his guards burst out of the collapsing bunker. Above them, streaks of light filled the sky. The alien fleet was moving. He clutched the star map tightly, whispering to himself. "We are running out of time." General Kale's voice echoed over hijacked communications. "Soldiers of Earth, stand down. You cannot win. Humanity is a mistake. Join me or burn with the rest." Billions across Earth heard his words. Shock spread through the cities. Fear took hold, and in that fear, the alien fleet loomed closer. The Ghost Fleet begins to descend toward Earth as human fleets fight among themselves. General Kale's betrayal has shattered unity. The final shot shows Earth's defense lines breaking apart while the alien commander whispers, "The extinction begins now." The solar system burned with tension. Above Earth, human fleets struggled to hold their fractured lines. Traitor missiles still drifted through the void. And the Ghost Fleet pressed closer with every passing moment. But far beyond the chaos, in the blackness between Mars and Jupiter, a lone reconnaissance ship carried the professor and a handful of loyal soldiers. Their destination, the coordinates marked on the ancient star map. The professor stood at the viewing window, the map glowing faintly in his hands. His voice was low but steady. "This is where it must be. Our ancestors left something behind, hidden from the aliens, hidden even from us. A weapon, or a miracle." As they approached the coordinates, nothing appeared at first. Just empty space, scattered with asteroids. The soldiers exchanged nervous looks. "Was it all a lie?" one asked. The professor shook his head. "Look closer." He activated the ship's scanners. At once, the asteroid field shimmered. Whole rocks flickered and faded, revealing the truth beneath. The asteroids were a disguise, an ancient cloak of technology so advanced it still functioned after nearly 1,000,000 years. And behind that cloak drifted a sight that froze them all. A colossal warship, larger than any city, its black hull etched with glowing human runes. It stretched across the void like a fallen god. The last dawn had been only a fragment of the past. This was something far greater. This was the Eidolon, humanity's last and greatest weapon. The ship's engines were cold, but its presence radiated power. Even broken, even asleep, it felt alive. The professor whispered, "Our ancestors built this to win the war. But they never finished, or they never had the chance to use it." One soldier's voice trembled. "Can we wake it?" The professor placed the map against a console. To their shock, the ship stirred. Lights flickered across the massive hull. Old systems hummed. And then a deep voice filled the cabin. Identity confirmed. Bloodline match. Humanity endures. Activation sequence commencing. The crew stared in awe. The Eidolon recognized them. It was waiting for them, but time was running out. Back at Earth, the Ghost Fleet broke formation. Thousands of alien warships surged forward, their weapons blazing red. Human fleets fired back, the void erupting into fire and wreckage. Captain Mira led her squadron into the fray, her voice calm despite the chaos. "Hold your ground. Every second we survive is another second for Earth." But deep inside, she knew they could not last. The aliens outnumbered them 10-1, and the traitor, General Kale, was still feeding the enemy their every move. In the shadows of the battle, the alien commander smiled. This is their end. Once more humanity burns, but then a tremor rippled through the stars. Every scanner, every radar, every sensor across the battlefield lit up at once. A new signature had appeared, a power unlike anything else. The Eidolon had awakened. The colossal ship rose from behind its asteroid cloak, engines burning with white fire. Its black hull glowed with golden lines, forming symbols that pulsed like a heartbeat. Entire fleets turned their heads as the ancient Titan entered the battlefield. On Earth, billions looked up as the night sky flared with new light. The professor's voice echoed across communication networks. Humanity was not born weak. We were not born prey. We fought before and we will fight again. This is the weapon of our ancestors. This is our hope. Alien fleets froze in shock. Their commander snarled. Impossible. That ship should not exist. It was destroyed, but the Eidolon was very real. Its weapons charged, energy building in massive cannons along its hull. The stars themselves seemed to vibrate. On board, the professor whispered, "This is what they feared. This is why they tried to erase us. Because humanity does not die. We endure." The first shot fired. A beam of pure white energy tore across the void, slicing through the alien armada. Warships disintegrated, shattered into molten fragments. Entire squadrons vanished in a single instant. Human soldiers cheered, their hope reborn. Captain Mira's eyes widened as she saw the Titan fire again, clearing a path through the Ghost Fleet. By the stars, we might win, but the alien commander's smile returned. So the Eidolon lives. Then we must finish what we started. The Ghost Fleet began to move as one. Their formation shifted, warships aligning into a vast circle. Energy gathered at their center, forming a sphere of red light so massive it dwarfed planets. The professor watched the readings. His face turned pale. "They're preparing something. Something we cannot survive." The Eidolon's systems warned in a deep mechanical voice. "Extinction weapon detected. Probability of survival, 3%. The camera pulls back to show the Ghost Fleet's weapon glowing brighter, its power shaking the solar system itself. The Eidolon charges its cannons in return. Humanity's last hope faces the universe's deadliest weapon. Black screen. Text glows. The final battle begins. The void was on fire. The alien Ghost Fleet had formed a circle so massive it spanned half the solar system. At its center, a sphere of red energy swelled like a newborn star, trembling with destructive power. It was the Extinction weapon, the same that had ended humanity's ancestors 900,000 years ago. Across Earth's skies, fear spread like wildfire. Billions watched the heavens turn crimson. Soldiers aboard their fragile ships gripped their controls, hearts pounding, and at the heart of it all, the ancient human titan, the Eidolon, stood against the storm. Inside the ship, the professor and his crew watched in awe as systems hummed to life. The warship's AI, deep and resonant, spoke again. Extinction weapon detected. Countermeasures available. Warning, full activation risks total system collapse. The professor clenched his fists. If collapse means survival, then collapse is worth it. Humanity has no choice. The Eidolon's golden runes flared brighter, bathing the ship in light. Massive cannons rotated, locking onto the alien armada. Across the battlefield, Captain Mira led her battered squadron into formation. "Listen to me," she called over comms. "This is it. Hold nothing back. Fight with everything you have. The Eidolon is with us." Her soldiers roared in response, courage burning hotter than fear. Fighters streaked across the stars like arrows of fire, diving straight into the alien fleets. Alien commanders snarled as their screens lit with alarms. Human pilots, outnumbered and outgunned, fought like demons. They knew this was not just survival, it was vengeance. In the enemy flagship, the alien commander hissed. "They cannot win. Fire the extinction weapon." The colossal red sphere expanded, its glow blinding. Space itself seemed to bend around it, but before it could release, the Eidolon fired. A beam of golden-white energy ripped through the void, tearing into the alien circle. Entire fleets vaporized. Shockwaves rolled across the stars. The professor shouted over the roar, "Again! Fire again!" The Eidolon obeyed, its cannons unleashing a second blast. Alien warships shattered like glass, their proud formations breaking. For the first time in thousands of years, the aliens felt fear. But the extinction weapon did not falter. Its light only grew brighter, hungrier. The Eidolon systems screamed warnings. Hull integrity failing. "Power reserves critical." The professor's hands shook. "We need more!" "There must be something else." Then in the chaos, the ship's AI spoke again, softer, almost human. "There is one last protocol. The Legacy Protocol." The professor froze. "What does it do?" "It will channel the strength of every human mind into the Eidolon. Living and dead, past and present. The weapon of humanity is humanity itself. On Earth, civilians looked up as golden light spilled across the sky. People felt it, an invisible pull, a heartbeat older than memory. The Eidolon was reaching out, calling to them. Across the planet, soldiers, farmers, children, elders, all closed their eyes as the ship's voice echoed in their minds. "Will you stand?" Billions answered as one, yes. The Eidolon's runes exploded with power. The professor felt the weight of countless voices surging through the ship. Every ancestor, every survivor, every human who had ever lived. The ship's golden cannons flared brighter than the sun. The professor whispered, tears in his eyes. "We are not alone." "We were never alone!" The alien commander screamed in rage. "End them." "Fire the weapon!" The red sphere released. A wave of annihilation ripped forward, enough to erase a planet in a heartbeat. The Eidolon met it head-on. Its cannons roared, unleashing the combined will of humanity. Golden light clashed with crimson fire. The void shook. Planets trembled. Stars dimmed. For long, endless seconds, destruction and defiance collided. Then slowly the red light faltered. Cracks spread through the alien sphere. With a final cry, the extinction weapon shattered. The ghost fleet was engulfed in fire. Alien warships tore apart, their commanders screaming as the shockwave ripped through their armada. The stars went quiet. On Earth, people erupted in tears and cheers. Soldiers screamed victory into their comms. Captain Mira fell back in her chair, laughing and crying at once. "We did it. By the stars, we did it." But inside the Eidolon, alarms still blared. The ship was burning from within. Systems failed, lights dimmed, engines sputtered. The Legacy Protocol had pushed it beyond its limits. The professor touched the console gently. "You gave us everything. Rest now." The AI's voice faded, soft and proud. "Humanity endures." The Eidolon, glowing like a dying star, drifted silently. Far away in the ruins of the alien fleet, a single transmission escaped into the dark. A warning, a promise. Humanity survived again. Other civilizations would hear it. Other eyes would turn toward Earth. The war was over, but the story of humanity was only beginning. The screen fades to black with golden words. We were meant to vanish. Instead, we endured. Humanity forever.